Hi, everybody. I'm Robin, and these are my reflections. And today we're here to take a look at The Psychic Art of Tarot by Mat Auryn. I have a galley copy or uncorrected proof copy here. So my copy might look a little bit different from what you would purchase if you get it. I do believe it has a nice glossy cover now. And, there are some page numbers in the index section of mine missing that will be in yours. But other than that, we pretty much have, the book here, and it is pretty cool. So I wanted to share it with you guys. I read it through as was suggested in the book by Mat Auryn, the author. And then he suggests that you read it through and then go back and start to work through it. And that's my plan to I read it through and now I want to go back and start to work through it, but I'm going to work through it very slowly. I think I'm just going to do like, a chapter or half a chapter every couple of months. I'm not going to rush myself because I feel like this is something that is going to be great to work through over time. I may want to do the exercises more than once. I'll practice some things, like there's an exercise in here on automatic writing. And I may want to do that more than once. I don't want to rush through it. I want to take my time. So that's what I plan to do. But I wanted to share this book with you because I think this is a really interesting book for anybody who's interested in reading tarot through a psychic lens. So let's take a look. Here's a table of contents. The first couple of chapters are about the basics of psychic arts and how to apply it to tarot. A meditation, you've got intuitive tarot, getting out of your own way, and working, through your own personal things when it comes to being a psychic and using tarot as your tool. Inner planes, spirit helpers, psychic tarot, tarot mediumship, diving deeper into psychic tarot theory. You get a list of all of the exercises and techniques that are in here at a glance, so you can look through them in that way, which is wonderful. The forward is by Rachel True. If you know, you know. So, in the introduction, we talk about where Mat Auryn is coming to this book from. He's written a book called Psychic Arts, I think, or what was it called? Psychic Witch. And that one is all about, you know, developing your psychic prowess or developing your third eye and all that kind of stuff. I think that this book, it talks a little bit about that, but it's more in terms of tarot, right? So it's not just like a general overarching book on psychic arts and all of the things that you need to know, and then you can pick and choose which ones you need to want to use if you're doing charms, or what would work really well if you're reading bones, or it's all about tarot. This is all about the things that he has found over his practice work well in tarot reading. So if we're talking about things that have to do with grounding, it's grounding before you're getting ready to do a tarot reading, right? It's not just grounding in general. Like if we're talking about automatic writing, we're talking about automatic writing in the terms of you're trying to draw in the energy for a tarot reading, right? And so I think that it's important to note that this is the type of book that if tarot is your tool, then you're really going to enjoy this because it does all the work for you. Basically, you don't have to go through a big book on psychic arts and then try to pick and choose what things might work and what things won't. Mat Auryn has had a whole career of this. He's picked it all out for you and put it in this book, basically. So I think it's pretty amazing. And I wish I had something like this when I first started. I'm self taught, and I would call myself probably like, I don't know, intermediate, maybe. Definitely not advanced. I don't feel beginner, so I guess I kind of fall in the intermediate. I haven't read an actual book, like a paper book on this stuff since I was in my 20s. So it was really cool to get sent this for a review, because I actually picked up another book that is more of an overarching psychic book. And this one, I was like, yeah, this is drilling down right to tarot. I like this. I like this so much better. You know what I mean? So, because tarot is my tool. Tarot is my tool. So if you're like me and tarot is your tool, then I think that you're going to like this book. So one of the things that I liked what he described, and this is kind of going to give you a flavor for the way he writes, was this paragraph here. It says, one way to think about psychic ability is to compare it to music. Some people can learn music by ear without musical training, which means they can hear the notes of a song, then play them precisely. But this is rare. This is a rare skill. In my perspective, using tarot as a divinatory tool is more like reading sheet music. Sheet music takes those musical notes and arranges them in a structure that can be understood, read, and recreated. Similarly, tarot provides a structure and format that anchors and helps make sense of psychic information that might otherwise be jumbled or unclear without structure as a reference point. Taking this approach strengthens your psychic ability through regular use of tarot cards. It's similar to how practicing with sheet music can eventually help you learn to play the piano by ear. And so I thought that was a really great way to explain why psychics use tarot. You know what I mean? I think he speaks about how, people always ask him, are you psychic or are you a tarot reader? And he doesn't really feel like they're mutually exclusive. And he talks a little bit about that as well in here. Talks about the psychic arts. He talks about how he feels everyone is psychic and you just have to practice, using those, working those muscles. So in chapter 1, we're talking about divination, divinity, and you. And so we're defining divination, we're defining divinity, and how we relate to that. So we talk about the three souls and different modes of perception. We're talking about the genius in the psychic arts. We're talking about making vows to yourself, evaluating your motives for psychic tarot readings. Like, why do you want to do psychic tarot readings? And the difference between, he talks a little bit about the difference between reading the cards at face value and then using your psychic, using the psychic arts to develop more between the cards. So this book assumes that you already know the basic meanings of tarot. So if you are a beginner, you're going to need another book to help you understand the meanings, because that's not in this book at all. You're not going to find anything in this book about the meanings of tarot. This book is more about expanding past that using your psychic abilities. So if you're a beginner and you want to pick this up because from the beginning you want to read with a psychic lens, this is a good book to pick up. But you're also going to want to pick up another book on how to read on the actual meanings of the cards, because it's not going to be in this one. Which we don't need it to be in this one because obviously there's no space. Look at all of this. So let's look at chapter 5, getting out of your own way. This was my favorite chapter in the book. So this is the chapter we're going to go through. So we start with a little introduction on, there's no definitive path to becoming a real tarot reader and gatekeeping and all that kind of stuff. Tells you to take a deep breath. When the unlikely is exactly right. This is a wonderful story from his own background, from his own, life, where he thought he didn't need to say something and then he did, and he was like, I should trust myself and that kind of stuff. And so he's got like little tidbits in there about things that he's experienced going along the way. Then you've got clearly discerning the symbol from the interpretation, which this is an interesting section, an interesting subsection of this chapter, where it's like, these are the things that we really have to like build muscles for, right? So it says, to build your muscle for understanding and conveying psychic or intuitive information accurately, you'll first need to understand yourself and how your mind works. This means getting in touch with your own intuition, internal database of psychic imagery, your shadow self, and understanding when your mind is wandering or thinking about random things. Keep an eye on the insights that surface during your meditations and everyday experiences, and focus on strengthening your relationship with your inner wisdom. And there's more. He goes on and on to give even more really good advice on ways to find yourself and understand the images that you're getting. He gives a story here about something that happened in his career and how that can look, discerning a symbol. And then he talks about psychic amnesia, and when a querent closes off during a reading, and what that can look like. So he gives more information from his own experience when a reading is just plain ass wrong. And then he gives an exercise on automatic writing. This is an exercise I'm dying to try. It is on page 123, and as I think I said in the beginning, I'm going to be working from the beginning to the end slowly. So I don't know if I'll get to it next year, but I'm going to get to it. I'm excited to try this exercise, and he even gives a what this can look like with this exercise. If you're not familiar with what automatic writing is, he talks about what it is, why you would want to use it as a tarot reader. It says, when confronted with a card that's difficult to interpret within the context of a reading, automatic writing can act as a gateway to deeper insights by focusing solely on the card's imagery, symbols, what you feel, and by allowing your intuition to free flow in the writing process, you may find yourself articulating thoughts and perspectives that conventional interpretive thoughts might miss. It is out of your own, it's basically getting yourself out of your own way, right? So as you surrender conscious control and let your intuition guide your hand across the page, your connection with your subconscious mind and your higher self becomes stronger. So that's why you might want to use automatic writing in a tarot reading. And then it gives you step by step how to do it. Choose a tarot deck, set a clear intention, shuffle the tarot deck, draw one or more cards, take a few moments to observe the card. With your card as inspiration, begin to write. Keep writing. And as you keep writing, you might notice it talks about what you might notice. Words start to develop. There might be a poetic or cryptic or deeply personal. And then once you've written enough, or once you feel you've written enough, stop and review your writing. And then he gives an example from his own experience about what that can look like. Another exercise on tarot voice reflection, what that can look like, neuroplasticity and affirmations, and changing your thought process. And then it talks about psychic affirmation card draws, and oracle clarifiers, using oracles as clarifiers. And there's an exercise on that. So that is the chapter 5, right? So that's a lot in one chapter. That's why I said I'm going to be working through it exercise by exercise, slowly. I might want to stop and do that automatic writing thing a few times, And I love that there is a list in the front where I can highlight or make notes next to the ones that I really enjoy and put little stars and write in the this is nice paper that I can write on with a pen. I can write in the margins. And I think that this is going to be one of those books that I'm going to be marking up and doing a lot of work in. So I'm very excited about that. In the back, you have an appendix of affirmations. You have an appendix of emergency resources, which are actually not here, but in your book, they will be. And like I said, I have a galley copy pre-release. And then you have a bibliography with lots of information. And then lots of books, so many books. And then an index if you're interested in that, and then a right to the author. And that's the end of the book. I felt like this book was so comprehensive, and I am very excited to own it. I had a couple of things that I wish it had. I wish it had a note section at the end of every chapter where I could just jot things down. I think it would have been cool to have a page, just one page, just to write things at the end of each chapter. But I understand why there's not, because this book is already very long. I mean, it's pretty thick. I want to say it's it's 284. So I understand why they didn't put that. I would have put it over 300 pages. The other thing that I really wish that they would have done, and I think would have been cool, is if they would have put footnotes with the citations. So instead of just having the bibliography in the back, I think it would have been cool to be able to see the citations down here where the information came from, because there's so many books here. It would have been easier to kind of discern what I want to. Ooh, Radical Tarot is in here. That's a fantastic. If you're looking for a book on tarot, that's the one I would recommend. If you're new to tarot and you're watching this, and remember I said at the beginning that you're going to need another tarot book, Radical Tarot, that's the one you want. I have a walkthrough. I'll pop it up in the cards for you if you want to see it. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I think that's the only thing. The notes page, and I would have loved to have had the citations at the bottom of the page to let me know where the information came from, rather than just the bibliography in the back. But I am very excited to have this bibliography because it's extensive. And I mean, it must have every possible book that you could possibly want to read. So it's wonderful to have that to work from. So other than that, I didn't have any really things to say. I think that this is a fantastic book. I think that if someone is new to tarot and wants to work with tarot through a psychic lens, you definitely should pick this up along with your guidebook from your tarot deck or another book. I mentioned the Radical Tarot is a wonderful place to start. I also think that if you are advanced, I think you could still find something in here, because I feel like this is the kind of book where, how some of us have been reading tarot forever, but we still want to read the guidebooks because we still want to see what people are doing with their own experiences or how they're thinking about the cards. I feel like that's what we can find in this book if you're there's so many personal antidotes in here and so much information that he gives from his long career, that is just really, it would be cool even as an advanced psychic tarot reader to be able to read this and just see where he's coming from. You know what I mean? So I think that this is the type of book that anybody doing tarot through a psychic lens would want to have in their collection. So those are my thoughts on the psychic art of tarot. I hope that that was helpful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow. If you know anybody who might want to see this book or hear my thoughts, please share the video. It helps the videos get out there. If you want to see more from me, you can subscribe. I release videos every few days regarding tarot, oracle, the occasional metaphysical or self-help book. I do have a whole playlist on the books and journals that I have reviewed, so I will pop that in the description box below if you're interested in more videos like this. And until I see you guys next time, stay safe and be blessed. Bye bye.